Hi there, good to have you with us as we start Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you on EWTN Radio. I am Jerry Usher along with Debbie Georgiani. The show team is in place. We have another topic that we know you're going to want to weigh in on today, so we will get that set up for you right now. Debbie, I think we ought to formally change the name of the show to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you, because we say it all the time.
Wouldn't that be great? Maybe on the 6th anniversary. What do you think?
We could, let's ponder that.
Okay, yeah, that's really interesting because we do say it all the time. And I think the Take Two family recognizes that because we depend on them. And it's your takes, it's your life experiences that really make, you really change us. You change us for the better. And that's a good thing. And that's what we want to do as the body of Christ in action. So we're going to ask you this question today. Get ready to answer it. Think about it for about a minute and then call in and speak to Ryan and get on the show. Okay, so here's the question. What would you change in your life if you could? So you could just answer it as something like this. If I could change anything, it would be, and we want to know what that would be. If you could change anything in your life, if you could do it, what would it be? We would love to hear from you. Here's the number, 833-288-3986. And just to make sure, it sounds like we have Ryan in place and Jeff, and of course, Michael Birchfield, our producer. So call in and answer that question.
Yeah, it may not be something that you are able to change. Maybe it is. Maybe you have something in your sights that you want to change in your life, make yourself a little bit better in one of the areas of your life. That would be great. 833-288-3986. Maybe it's something that just wouldn't be possible, and that's okay. We're kind of dreaming a little bit here, right? So get on that phone, give us a call, 833-288-3986. Debbie, on one hand, we should be, and we are, I think all of us are grateful for exactly who we are as God made us with all of the circumstances that He has allowed into our lives. But that doesn't preclude the opportunity or the times that we could take like this to just say, you know what, if I could change something, this is what it would be. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Know what I mean? Well,
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing, Jerry, sometimes we're in a career and we're thinking, if I wish I had done this, if I could change anything, that's what I would do. Or maybe in a place where you live, an area of the country or the world, you're like, oh, I really want to live near the ocean, near the water, right? I mean, there's things that you like you said, dream, and it's very interesting. Because I think it's healthy, but if we focus on that and we don't realize what we have in our midst, the precious gifts that we have right in front of us, then we're missing out, and that's an unfortunate missed opportunity on real, true, deep gratitude. So this is a beautiful exercise, but let's just explore it and see where it takes us about change and about wanting change and dreaming about change. And we want to hear from you. 833-288-3986. Is that what you were referring to with change?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. You got it. You nailed it right on. So thank you for picking up on that. I wanted to mention the other ways that you can weigh in on the show as well. A lot of people watch the video stream on Facebook or YouTube. Hello, good morning, good afternoon to you. Good, whatever time it is, you're part of the world. You can leave your comments there. Jeff Burson will grab those for us and put them on a document where we can read them and share many of them on the air. Email, we get a lot of emails during and after the show at take2@EWTN.com. If you want to text a message, it's the letters EWTN to 55000, maybe a small data rate depending on your phone plan. So a lot of ways, Debbie, for people to weigh in on this conversation.
Absolutely. So we want to hear from you. Phone lines are just starting to light up, so this is a perfect time to get in at 833-288-3986. Talking about change today. If there's something that you could change, one thing, what would it be? And tell us why. And if you're unable to change it, that's fine too. We want to talk about it. There's a reason. We're going to weave this into our spirituality. Real quickly, Jerry, Marty and I, the alarm went off very early this morning, and we woke up we turned on the news, and we we heard the alarms, the tornado sirens for Alabama. So we started to pray, and I'm sure the whole country is beginning, or if they're just waking up or getting on with their day, they're realizing that north of Birmingham was hit with a pretty major tornado, and also there's storms raging all over the country. Real disturbances happening. So let's pray. Let's pray for folks to be safe in their homes and to feel, just feel secure. It's bad enough we have to go through this pandemic. You want to feel safe in your home. I saw a picture, Jerry. There were a family just in the nick of time got out of the bedroom, and I guess a pole or something came right through the bedroom wall.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, prayers for that intention will continue. And also another, praise report, answered prayers that Debbie and I wanted to mention to you. And pay attention to this, dear Take Two family, because we asked you to pray for this, about a week or so ago, Debbie, I think it was. A monstrance was stolen from St. Michael the Archangel Catholic Church. And then we got this email just yesterday from Eugene, who is a very regular emailer. He said, "Hello, Jerry and Debbie. We wish to thank you both and the entire Take Two family for your prayers. Our monstrance was returned with the Blessed Sacrament. We appreciate that you put out the urgent call for prayers immediately at the beginning of the radio show on EWTN this past Wednesday. We all prayed with fervor, and our priests, Father Richard Whalen, Father Mark Ruckpaul, and Father John Gillis, prayed for the intercession of St. Joseph and St. Andre Bessette. Well, as Debbie always says, we stormed heaven, and heaven responded without delay." And it says, "May our Lord and Savior continue to bless you both, your ministry, and the entire Take Two and EWTN family." What a great report we have on that.
Absolutely. Praise be to God. That's what we want. So let's keep the prayers up, and let's keep the prayers up for the country today with all these, weather disturbances and things happening. I mean, people are really feeling unsettled, and we don't want that. We want to have folks get on with their day and have some joy in their heart. So let's talk about it today. What would you change in your life if you could? Answer the question. Let's talk about it. Please call in. Don't disappoint us. You never have. You never have.
We're never disappointed in the Take Two family.
I know. I love the Take Two. We love you guys so very, very much. And you always show up at just the right time. 833-288-3986.
Yeah, I'm going to share something that I could change if I had the opportunity. It goes way, way back in my life. Actually, though, this is interesting. I'll share more after the break. It helped to make me better, but now it has some ramifications even at this age in my life. So we're going to talk about that and more with you on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie right after this.
Unplanned, the true story of Abby Johnson.
I would be the youngest director in Planned Parenthood history.
She believed in a woman's right to choose.
I've had an abortion myself, so I don't have any problem with another woman making the same decision.
Until the day she saw something that changed everything.
Tiny, perfect little baby. And then it was just gone.
Now she's pulling back the curtain on the abortion industry. Unplanned.
Available at EWTNRC.com and the EWTN app.
Next time on EWTN Live, Catholics Come Home's Tom Peterson speaks about the crucial role willpower plays in strengthening every faith journey on the next EWTN Live.
EWTN Live with me, Father Mitch Pacwa, tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern on EWTN TV and radio.
He was a scholar, a preacher, a Capuchin Franciscan, and a defender of Christendom.
Matthew Bunsen and the Doctors of the Church.
St. Lawrence of Brindisi was one of the most respected preachers in the 17th century, but he also helped raise an army against the Ottoman Turks when they invaded Hungary in 1601. He led the troops to victory against the Turks, carrying only a crucifix. He was declared a Doctor of the Church in 1959.
For more about the Doctors of the Church, visit doctorsofthechurch.com.
Nice to have you with us here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. this Tuesday broadcast, talking about if you could just kind of muse for a moment. It may not be something you can do, but if you could do, change one area of your life, a certain, maybe a decision that you made, maybe a decision you didn't make, maybe something that happened to you, maybe something you were a part of. If you could change one thing, what would that be? I think this helps us reflect on our lives and maybe how grateful we are to God for everything that we do have. The number is 833-288-3986. Want to mention before we take the calls, EWTN Publishing is putting out some of the finest resources on the planet, and they are very, very helpful for our spiritual lives. For example, if we want to know what goes on at Mass, why those things happen at the Mass, and understanding it from a biblical perspective. This is important, especially when our friends and family, some of them, challenge us on the sacrifice of the Mass. EWTN Publishing has a book called A Biblical Way of Praying the Mass, the Eucharistic Wisdom of Venerable Bruno Lanteri. That's by Father Timothy Gallagher, and he is a very, very wonderful spiritual writer. And to help you more fully tap into the abundance of grace offered in the holy sacrifice of the Mass, Father Timothy Gallagher plumbs the cherished teachings of Venerable Bruno Lanteri, a holy priest who, amid the turbulence of war and persecution in northern Italy, developed a biblical way of praying the Mass that transforms it into a genuine prayer of the heart. So you can find this at EWTN EWTNRC.com. That's the religious catalog, EWTNRC.com. Just look for A Biblical Way of Praying the Mass. Okay.
We have some really content listeners today because we have a couple open phone lines. So you don't want to change anything, right? You love everything, and that's good. Maybe you want to share that too. That could help us. But if there's something that you if you could change anything, if you had that opportunity, what would it be? We want to hear about it. You don't have to disclose anything too personal, just something that maybe can help us to appreciate things or look at things differently. Here's the number. Ryan is waiting. Don't let him down. He's such a nice young man. 833-288-3986. Pick up those last couple open phone lines. And I know we're going to go to Kathy first, but Jerry, you promised you were going to share something that you would change if you had the opportunity.
Well, I can't break that promise. So, yeah, I was born with club feet. I've mentioned that on the show before. Most people know what club feet are, and your feet are pointed in and kind of arched a little bit. And thankfully, I had a surgery or two and some slept with braces on my feet, but it always stayed with me. But the thing is, the good part about it was it made me push myself harder and to accomplish things, especially athletically in high school and in college. So it was really a blessing. It turned out to be a blessing because I strove to achieve more than I otherwise might have. The other side of that is now that I'm 59 years old, the ramifications or consequences of that are still there. I still sort of walk on the outside balls of my feet, and I've got on my left foot, I have a calloused area that I have to have trimmed off every few months because it just feels like I have a piece of glass in my foot. So that's I guess that's one of those things that maybe I wouldn't change that. Maybe that's one of those things that keeps me close to God, kind of like the hair shirt or the pebble in your shoe or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I need something
humble.
like that too. Yeah, I need something like that to keep me humble.
Right.
Anyway.
That's interesting. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, let's think about that and let's add to it. Let's see what Kathy has to say in Danvers, Massachusetts, listening on the iCatholic radio app. Hi, Kathy. Thanks for waiting and welcome.
Hi, Jerry and Debbie. It's a blessing to be on your show.
Thank you.
I called you once before about 2 years ago, and I listen to you every day. And
Thank you.
I've sent you guys emails before. They're more like novels instead of emails. But there's so many times when I've wanted to call, and I always don't because I'm always afraid I'm going to get too emotional and start crying and everything. So
nothing wrong with that.
Too emotional about things. Yeah. But I love you guys, and you and Mother Miriam and Johnette Williams and so many have been a huge part of my life for the past 2.5 years. And this is today is my real birthday. 39 years ago today, I invited Christ into my life. And it's been a wonderful journey. And because of you, and the other programs on iCatholic Radio and Catholic Connection and Call to Communion and so many others. Last week I started my journey to the Catholic Church.
Oh, wow.
And I'm so excited.
Oh, Kathy.
And I'm praying that it will happen this Easter, because this Easter is my real birthday, April 4th, and I'll be 72. And so if I can get confirmed into the Catholic Church on my real birthday, it'll be, you know, kind of the end of my journey that started April 4th, 1949. So I can't thank you guys enough. So
wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's been a wonderful journey.
Wow, that's amazing. So are you taking classes? Are they in person, or are they online, or
I'm meeting with my priest. I'm meeting with my former priest became a Catholic priest. He was an Anglican priest. It's a long story, so that's not what we're talking about today. But I just wanted to share with you. He's meeting with me. I've been listening to. I've been praying about being a Catholic for about 12 years. When I was invited to a Lectio Divina group by my Catholic friend of all Catholic women, but there were so many things I didn't like about the Catholic Church, and I didn't believe in, you know, all those typical things that Protestants hear and learn about, and I struggled about them, but I see in my faith journey all my entire life that God has been leading me this way. And it was through iCatholic Radio that answered almost every single question I had over the past 2.5 years. And so now I've started in the process. And when I met with my priest a week ago yesterday, what's today, Tuesday? A week ago yesterday, I met with him for the first time. We're going to meet every week. I've met with him twice. After I shared my story and why I wanted to become a Catholic, he said to me, "Wow, you know more about the Catholic Church than I do." And I said, "That's because I listen to iCatholic Radio every day."
I was going to say something very similar to that, Kathy. I was going to say, any priest who would meet with you and see the journey you've taken, but that journey requires a lot of absorption of what the faith is, and study and reflection and prayer, and even setting aside unfortunate prejudices and so forth. So I'm not surprised that the priest said that, and we will certainly pray that you kind of get this fast track into the Catholic Church on this coming Easter, especially on your birthday at the age of 72. But you talk about you've talked about your real birthday being when you met Christ, and your earth birthday being April 4th, and that kind of language is so beautiful, because I'm just reminded that we celebrate in the church. I think there's only two saints whose births we celebrate, Mary and John the Baptist, and that's because John the Baptist was sanctified and, in a sense, baptized in the womb of Elizabeth, his mother, when Mary went to visit them. So, you're talking about these eternal birthdays. I think it's just beautiful. Debbie, I'm rambling on. Hagen, go ahead.
No, Kathy, you said at the beginning of your call that you hesitate sometimes calling in because you don't want to get too emotional. Well, we're very emotional in a good way with this wonderful news. Yeah,
I'm emotional in a good way too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I've been praying the Rosary for about 10 years. I stand in front of our local abortion clinic with another man every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday morning from 7 to 8, and we do the Rosary, we do the Stations of the Cross, so many things. And when he, after praying with him for quite a while, he said when I told him I wasn't Catholic, he couldn't believe it. He said, "What do you mean you're not Catholic? I thought you were Catholic." But anyway, it's time. It's time, and God's timing is perfect, and He's always been in my life. And
exactly. Kathy, well, early welcome home, and we're so glad we get to journey with you. Yes, you have
to. I wanted you to put me in your prayer book, please, and be praying for me. Yes,
absolutely, but you got to keep us posted.
Family. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I absolutely will. I actually was writing an email to all of you, to Mother Miriam, to you, to Johnette, to all the stations I listen to, and I was going to send you a group email because I think Jeff screens all of the emails, so he'd see that the same email for everyone because you've all touched my life in so many ways. And I've just been so busy, and life happens while we're I've been trying to do this for a week, and I just can't get it done. And but anyway. I don't know if you ever read my email about my granddaughter Annabelle, and I sent you the emails about I wasn't able to see her, but I prayed for her every day while she was in her mother's womb, and prayed that God would that she would be born knowing Him, because she's not going to learn from anyone else. Anyway. God is just moving and working in amazing ways. So.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if when you're an adult, if you get to pick a saint name.
Sure.
When you're an adult, like you do when you're young, when you're a teenager. But if we do, I want Saint Agnes, and that's the reason I'm calling today, because Saint Agnes is the saint for girls who have been abused. And if I had anything in my life that I could change, it would be that I hadn't been abused by various different people from the age of 5 to 12, and then raped by my college professor at 18, because it totally changed my life. And I think about, I've been to years of counseling. It really totally destroyed my marriage. I really absolutely never had a marriage because of that. And I've been married 48 years, February 16th. And we dated for 3 years before we were married, so it's 51 years, and it's been it hasn't been a great marriage, but God, and but I get so incensed when I hear of any child, being abused, because it really truly does. It robs you of your childhood, and it truly does something to you inside that you can't even explain. And, it comes up all the time throughout your life. I'm going to be 72, and it still affects me today, even with years of counseling and knowing the Lord and knowing His Word and knowing that He was with me through all of that, but it's still, it's life-changing. It really is. So if I had anything in my life that I could have changed, I would definitely have changed that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we can understand, Kathy, that's happened to me before. When I was young, I don't know if you've heard me mention that on the show, but you're right. It definitely stays with you, and for whatever reason, God allows it. But in your case, look where He has brought you. You're on the threshold of being able to receive the body and blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus in the Eucharist. You said you've been praying the Rosary for 10 years. You've been a Catholic all your life, Kathy. You're just discovering it now and going to make it official on this Easter, hopefully, God willing. So thank you, Kathy, for the call. We appreciate it. We'll be praying for you. Please pray for us. And as Debbie said, please do keep us posted. We'd love to hear more about your journey.
I will keep you posted. And I pray for you guys every day, all of you. You're all tucked in my rosary and in my daily scriptural prayers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you so much. We love you. Thank you. Wow, that was an amazing call, and we've got already text messages coming in. Everybody's like, they want to be at Kathy on the Easter Vigil at Kathy's church. I mean, how exciting is that? We'll all be there virtually, right, Jerry?
Absolutely. We will be there with you in spirit. We got other callers, Diane, Julia, and Judy. Hang on. We're going to get to a couple social media comments, and then we will get back to your phone calls. Michael P., who is watching on YouTube. Hi, Michael, along with many others, hopefully hundreds of you viewing the program on YouTube. He says that I wish that I would go through Catholic school instead of public school. So that's interesting. And it's interesting to me, Debbie, because I started out in Catholic school. The nearest Catholic school was about 30 miles away, and my mom, a single mom, had to drive all of us kids to that Catholic school, and I literally could look out my bedroom window and see the public school. And so one day when we drove off the road into a ditch on an icy day, my mother said, "That's it. You guys are going to public school." So. And I don't regret the experience myself, but this was, I think, long enough ago that there was still some sanity in our public schools. So,
I went to Catholic elementary school. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I'm still friends with, so many of my classmates. Yeah, it was an amazing experience. You just got a kind of an inside view of Catholicism in a unique way. It just was great.
By the way, it's a good opportunity for us to remind our listeners, thank you, Jeff Burson, that mentioning about Catholic schools and public schools. Debbie and I on the show here are going to do a special week of broadcasts. We're calling it Schools Week, and that's next week. Why? That's National Catholic Education Week, if I have the title of that right. So we're gonna do a Schools Week for you next week. We're gonna talk about what grade you would give Catholic education. We're gonna talk about how you decided where your kids would go to school, what the state of our high schools is, what's the talk on campus, high school and college, and then on Friday, kind of an open forum all about education. So hope that you can tune in all week next week.
And we have more social media coming in, but we're about to hit that little pause button. You'll hear that music, and Diane is coming up next, and Judy and the others. Well, there's room for you. I think Julia just dropped off. Julia, call back. Ryan will put you at the front of the line at 833-288-3986. And yes, Jerry, I'm looking forward to a Schools Week. I think we're going to really dive deep into all aspects of going to school, being a teacher, being a parent of a school-age child. It's going to be a great week. So we're look forward to that. But right now we're talking about what could you change in your life if you could?
Mother Angelica, Scott Hahn, Father Wade Menezes. You'll hear the leading Catholic voices on the largest Catholic media network in the world. This is the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
And there is power in prayer, because prayer is more important than breathing. Prayer can change the circumstances you are in. Prayer can change the world. The most important thing you ever do is pray. And so when you pray, God, you can do anything. And I know you love me more than I love me. So God, I'm handing this all over to you. And I know miracles can happen in my life, and they will.
Bringing hope and clarity to the issues impacting your life in 2021, EWTN's National Catholic Register provides award-winning journalism from the Vatican, Washington, D.C., and the world that goes beyond secular news. We bring truth and light to topics like religious liberty, the sanctity of human life, health, and all things related to the Catholic faith that affect you and your family's future. And we do it with faithful and courageous reporting that reflects the teachings of the Church. There's never been a more important time than right now to join Catholics who depend on the Register to stay informed. To take advantage of our special offer to get 6 free issues, visit ncregister.com/radio or call 800-421-3230 and mention code radio. That's ncregister.com/radio or call 800-421-3230 and mention code radio. The National Catholic Register. Read faithfully.
Hi, this is Cy Kellett. Later today on Catholic Answers Live, 2 hours of open forum. Tim Staples, Catholic Answers Live, 6 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take 2 with Jerry and Debbie.
Take 2 with Jerry and Debbie and you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your calls. We are often have the opportunities to change things in our lives to hopefully make ourselves better. Some things we cannot change, but our topic today is if you would examine your life, do a little reflection on where you've been, who you are, where you are now. If there is one thing you could change, if you had the opportunity, what might that be? 833-288-3986. Okay, thanks for holding on. Judy, hang on. You're right after Diane in Littleton, Colorado, listening on the Catholic Radio Network. First-time caller. Hi, Diane.
Hi, Jerry and Debbie. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you.
How are you?
Oh, good. I'm good, thanks. I actually met you, Debbie, like about, I don't know if it was 2 years ago last Advent or 3 years ago when you came to our church. So that was really a great night.
Thank you.
You're
yes,
welcome.
I want to get back there. Just to let you know, tell all your fellow parishioners I miss them. I think about you guys all the time.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, so I'll have to talk to Father Matt about that.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, maybe when this COVID gets over with.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, I was just calling. I've never, like I said, I've never called before, so I'm a little nervous. But I just, if I could change something, I just dream about it. I don't know if it's going to happen, but you never know. Our boys both live out of state, and our grandkids, so I wish they could all move back here, or at least move closer, and also other members of our family, especially my sister. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Especially my sister, and she's in Iowa, so we're quite a ways away. But that's about all, and then hopefully soon we're going to get to see especially our grandkids. We haven't seen them since a year ago at Christmas, so we're really missing them. And I don't know, that's about all I have to say.
Well, Jerry, I know you have a couple comments on that, but I just wanted to share something with Diane, because in ministry, you know where I'm going with this, Jerry, about this idea of having family move closer and be closer, so you can have this beautiful, family community. I want to share something a little bit about prayer in that area, Diane, but I know Jerry has some comments.
Oh, sure. Sure.
Well, actually, go ahead, Deb. I'd be happy to follow you. I was going to talk about family being distant and so forth, but go ahead.
Right.
With what you were going to say.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And so I just wanted to say, Diane, we in the years of ministry that we've been in, we have heard of many stories of parents that have committed novenas for their family to come back together. And to really, to live closer and to be, and to have things work out in that direction. And I don't know if you've ever thought of this, but if it's something that your kids and your grandkids share as well, you may want to group up together and just pray that, to dream like that someday you guys could be closer together in the same, area of the country, so that you can, visit more often and have that close-knit feeling that happens when you have, people right in the same town or in the same state even. So I don't know if you ever thought about that, but if the kids or grandkids are not really open to that, maybe you could just, pray for that, because I've seen it happen over the years where parents have prayed for it, and it happened so beautifully and so effortlessly, and it actually turned out to be a great blessing for everybody involved. Have you thought of that?
I hadn't, but what novena would that be?
Well, there's a couple different novenas. You can pray, and actually right now, because of the year of St. Joseph, I would recommend leaning on St. Joseph and praying the novena with St. Joseph, or, of course, the Blessed Mother. Maybe doing both. There's a 54-day novena. There's, obviously, if there's complications to the situation where people cannot move for some reason, you could say the Lady Undoer of Knots, because she actually makes everything, right in things that seem difficult when you look at them on the surface. So there's all sorts of novenas, but or if you have a special saint that you feel very close to, there's novenas to those saints as well. But what would you say, a 54-day novena, Jerry?
Yeah, I think something like that. Our Lady Undoer of Knots is very, very powerful for things like that. I was just going to kind of make a reference to how easy it is for families to kind of not break apart, but move apart, nowadays because of jobs and travel and the world. People have, family members all over the world and so forth. Maybe the travel part of it isn't so prevalent today with COVID and so forth, but I've often thought about that and missing my siblings. We get together. Well, of course, what do they say? When there's a funeral or a wedding, people get together. But, I've got a brother in Georgia, a brother in Phoenix, a brother in Washington State, and I live in California. So I can relate to what you're saying, Diane, about just really wishing that, family were a little bit closer. We think about all the childhood memories that we had and the things that we've done. But over the course of years, we all have to just kind of grow up and be our own man or woman and do what we feel, is right for us. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I see. Yeah, it sounds like my family all over the place, too. I've got a brother in Arizona, not in Phoenix, but south of Tucson. Green Valley, I think it's called.
Oh, yeah.
I've been down
Beautiful
there for
area.
a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, my dad loved Phoenix. He used to winter in Phoenix after he was a firefighter and retired from that many years ago. He's been gone many years now, but he just loved Phoenix.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, Diane, as you were speaking, I can hear it in your heart. You have such a love for your family. I put you and your whole family in our book. So the Take Two family,
I
we're going to
appreciate that, Debbie and Jerry.
Yeah, we're going to pray. Let you keep us.
Thank you.
I don't know. I have a good feeling. I don't know why. I feel like you could get some that are moving closer, and and then when that happens, people gravitate towards that, or it's like a magnet. They want to get closer to family. So you never know. Let's start that momentum going in that direction and see where the good Lord takes it if it's His will.
Thank you. Yes.
Absolutely.
I don't know. What was I going to say? I think I forgot.
Well, real quickly, I just want to say the miraculous 54-day novena. I mean, you can say that for so many intentions, okay? But it is a very powerful novena, and it also helps all of us to get into a good discipline and routine with the sacraments and in fasting and everything. So I recommend the 54-day novena at least once a year for everyone to really kind of recenter and get focused. So you may want to look into that. It is very miraculous. I have to tell you, when I took part in this 54-day novena a couple years ago, on the last day of the novena, the exact thing I was praying for happened. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen for everybody, but it happened. And so much so, I thought it was a dream. I didn't even real. I was like, is this for real? And it was actually happening on the last day. So I do agree that it is miraculous. Yeah. Anyway.
Yes, I'm going to look into that and start praying that.
Okay.
Great.
Okay. Yeah. Keep us posted. I don't know if I ever told you that, Jerry. Did you know that the miracle came on the last day?
I don't know if you mentioned that or not. No.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And it was amazing. But Diane, you're not a first-time caller anymore. And don't forget to tell the folks at the parish that I said I miss you guys and Happy New Year to everyone. Yeah, beautiful. We got to get to Colorado, Jerry. We've had a lot of people ask us when we start traveling again. Colorado is definitely one of the pilgrimages we need to do.
For sure. Okay, talking about something you would change if you could today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Judy in Pendleton, Oregon has been waiting patiently, listening to the other callers. Now it's your turn, Judy, who's listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Judy.
Yes. Hi. I just mine isn't so much spiritual, but how the Lord just kind of takes care of us. And when I was in high school, I got pretty good grades, and but I wanted to be a florist. And the counselor said, "Oh no, you need to set your aims higher." So I started college. I lasted a week. My parents let me come home. I was so homesick. I didn't like the classes and stuff. But anyways, over the years, I look back and I think I had to raise my children myself for 18 years. And if I'd have been a florist, the busy time for them is holidays. And, that would have taken me away from my kids. And so I think, okay, so the Lord says, no, you're going to be raising these two kids yourself, so you need to focus on other things. And I was a secretary for the 4-H mostly when is where I worked for 25 years for that. So, and now I do the flowers. I help with the flowers at the church. So I'm using the skills that I would have loved to have done. But, he kind of looked out for me, and that's where I'm at now. So.
Okay, I have to jump in here because as you were speaking, Judy, before you said it, I'm just telling you, I wrote down Judy should do art and environment at the church. And you said it, Judy. So there you go. There's a confirmation you're in the right ministry. What do you think, Jerry?
Yes.
No, I think that's fantastic, the way God puts things on our hearts, and maybe they don't come to fruition right away. And sometimes we say, okay, that's definitely not something I'm going to do, that I'm called by God to do, and just totally discard it. But Judy, God gave you those gifts, those desires, put that desire on your heart, and He has brought that back around. And what better place to put talents like that to work than in one of our churches? I think it's beautiful.
I agree. It's very creative. Yeah, it's very creative what you do. I marvel at
Yeah.
it all the time. Every time I go into a church, I notice what is all around the sanctuary and how beautifully it's done and how meticulously it is positioned. It is so beautiful. It is such a wonderful art and a great gift that God has given you, Judy. Thank you for giving it back to the church.
Before you go, Judy, I have a quick question. Is that St. Mary's in Pendleton?
It is St. Mary's, but I actually live in Condon, Oregon, which is St. John Church.
Okay.
And I happen to be sitting in the parking lot waiting for a CT scan, and so I thought, I was listening to the radio, and I thought, okay, I'm going to call and share that because it was a long ways back, and yet I can see where it was probably the Lord was looking out for me. So,
right.
Yeah. And I taught First Communion classes for quite a while, and then I quit that, and I'm teaching my grandchild and a friend of theirs for this year First Communion classes over Skype, and so to be able to do the flowers is really I like it a lot. So it's where you can share. So it's.
The reason I asked is
share.
because I went to, right after high school, I went to 1 year of broadcasting school, and a member of the gentleman who was in that same broadcasting school class as me was at one time the pastor at St. Mary's in Pendleton. He went on, neither of us knew we were Catholic when we were in broadcasting school for obvious reasons. We weren't living out our faith, but we had later got reunited, discovered each other in the seminary, and he was, I believe he was the pastor at St. Mary's. He's now in Burns, Oregon, so. Good friend, very good friend.
Oh yes, Father Clemens.
Yep, Father Clemens, you got
right?
it. That's
look
right.
At this.
He comes to our parish sometimes because our parish, our priest is Father Rob Greiner, and him and Father Clemens and the other priest I think is from the Dalles, and so they have this where they would get together for like a few days during the middle of the week, and they would, uplift one another. I don't know what they did, but they met for. Sometimes they were there for 2 masses in the morning because I'm a daily mass person. So I know him. Yeah. Father
Well, I was in the seminary with Father Rob too. So please give him my regards if you would.
Wow.
Debbie's blown away by this. Judy, how many people are referenced on the show? And I say, oh yeah, I know him, I know her, and Debbie's
all the time, Judy, all the time. I post things on social media, and Jerry will call me and say, oh, I was in seminary with him, or he was on Vocation Boom Radio, or he was. I mean, Jerry knows like every single priest, bishop, cardinal, you name it. It's amazing.
And Father Rob was raised in our town, and so he's a few years younger than I am. But I always knew him because they came to church, and this might be inspirational to somebody. But his parents were separated. I'm pretty sure they were divorced. But he still grew up, and he still is. He's such a holy person, and so even I hear things always blamed on divorces, but he overcame that, and he is a wonderful priest. And we had probably 20 years of Nigerians, and I'm so glad they came. And I'm not saying that, but they don't speak English very well, and so it's hard because you're sitting there trying to figure out what they're saying, and then after you figure out what they're saying, how it affects you, and then they're on to something else, and you might have missed part of what they said. So anyway, so to have him come back to our parish, and and he is so good. So I will tell him hello for you.
Aww.
Thank you very much, Judy.
That's
God
so
bless
sweet.
you.
Yeah, I love that, Judy. Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thanks for the call, Judy.
Boy, that put a smile on your face.
Well, I could add to that, Debbie, because the bishop of that diocese, Baker, Oregon, he was my vocation director when I was in the seminary. I'm starting to feel old. I have at least four men that I was in the seminary with who are now bishops. So I'm starting to feel either really old or really left out.
Well, every time I meet anybody of clergy, they always have kind things to say about you, Jerry. So you've been very kind to people, which is wonderful.
Well, I was fishing for that, and it worked. So thank you, Debbie.
It worked. You're right. I know you're going to mention the rosary in just about a minute because we want to just remind our folks how they can pray the rosary together with EWTN Radio, which is just wonderful. But real quickly, thank you again, Judy, for the call and your beautiful gifts that you give to the church and art and environment. Diane, who called in from Littleton, we had a text message come in say, Diane seems like such a sweetheart. What church does she go to? It's Light of the World Catholic Church in Littleton, Colorado, and it is Father Matt. He is wonderful. And by the way, if you folks get a chance, go online and take a look at Light of the World Catholic Church. They have a virtual tour of their church campus grounds. It is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Okay.
Yeah. Is that the Father Matt who went with us on the Vocation Boom pilgrimage to the Holy Land?
No, it was different Father Matt. This is
okay.
Father Matt Book, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
different Father. Yeah, because we had, yes, that's right. We had the seminarians, right?
The two deacons, from Denver.
That's right.
You said that I was going to talk about the rosary, which I could do all day long. I love praying the rosary, as you and Marty pray it every night. I know that, and I usually pray it in the middle of the night when I wake up and maybe can't go to sleep for a few minutes. But EWTN Radio is a perfect way to pray the rosary, especially maybe you're not all that familiar with it. Maybe you're very familiar with it. In either case, it can be your rosary companion on the radio twice each day. And it's been doing this for over 25 years. In the mornings at 5:30 a.m. Eastern, Mother Angelica leads the rosary, and every evening at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, Father Benedict Rochelle. And you'll get that only on EWTN Radio right here on many of these same stations.
Love it. That's perfect. Talking about love. Okay, Gigi, our facilitator for our Inspired by Faith book and fellowship club. We are coming up on the month of love, February, right? And we are featuring You Are Loved, Father Cedric's book, You Are Loved. You can get it at EWTNRC.com. Order your book. Join us for the book club in February. It's all about love, and you will love this book. Father Cedric did such a great job on this book, and EWTNRC made it available for our book club, and that is wonderful. So all you got to do is go to standtalltoday.com, click on the book tab, join us. We have, I think it's over 300 by now, part of the online book club, and it is exciting.
It is. Gigi does a great job, and all the members are just so friendly. They just love interacting and having that fellowship, and all throughout the month, and then discussing it at the end of the month. We have a lot of texts and emails and social media comments. I wanted to read one, Debbie, from our dear friend Ron in Los Angeles. He says there would be too many changes that he would wanted to make. He says any one would have put me on such a different path. The friendships that I still have now would likely not be. And he thanks me for being his friend after his guardian angel. So thank you, Ron, for that. Appreciate that very much.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Anna Marie said, I would want to make more time with my mama. I didn't make the time for her when I should have. I was very selfish at that point in my life. I regret that very much. Well, I truly believe in the power of prayer, in the sense that God will allow everything to be made right. And I just think, through prayer, there can be those missed opportunities that we had with people on this earth. And plus, when we go to Mass, we are the closest. We are the closest to those that have finished their time here on earth. And I think there's just a beautiful way of reconciling all that. So keep that in mind and really, enter deeply into prayer and also the holy sacrifice of the Mass, because it does make a huge difference in connecting us with those that we loved and lost.
An email from Karen at take2@EWTN.com. What would I change? I'm 66 years old, single, and work full-time. I have lived alone for 22 years in a duplex ever since the breakup of an engagement. I changed towns that I lived in and moved back to my hometown. I seriously dislike living alone. I got a cat this summer, and she's been a gift from God. Fortunately, I live on a street full of single people, and I and several neighbors are friends and help one another. Nevertheless, there's no conversations going on, and I like them person to person. Being on the phone or email just isn't fulfilling. I'll just talk about the last segment of loneliness for 22 years.
I'm sorry.
I have many friends.
Mm-hmm.
I have many friends, but we're all some driving distance, and some of us still work. Weekends are filled with household chores, social time we used to spend together, but we are no more. I'm afraid of going online on a dating site because I lack self-confidence, even though people don't that I do. Any thoughts? She says, I come alive around people. Fortunately, my boss is a talker, and I have him for company, thank goodness. But she asks, any thoughts? Debbie, you have anything you might want to say to Karen?
I said I was sorry in the middle of you sharing that because I cut out a little bit. I couldn't hear you, so you may want to comment. I didn't hear the whole comment, Jerry.
Well, I think the bottom line, the issue for her is she lives alone, and she always has. Especially, she had a breakup of an engagement 22 years ago. So she says she comes alive around people, but she just doesn't have a chance to be around people that often. She lives alone, and she says most of the people she would spend time with are some distance drive for her.
Sure. Well, we're in a world right now we're getting very creative, having these FaceTime meetings and different online, we get together on Skype and all that kind of stuff. I would say get very creative. Go to folks at your parish, at your church, and see if you can create some kind of group, maybe even start a mini Bible study or something of that nature. Or how about just talking about God? Say, hey, let's get together and spend 30 minutes to talk about God. Get creative. And you'll see that the good Lord will multiply that. We have a God that multiplies. Okay, just look at the loaves and fishes, right? Our God wants us to go big. That is important. And sometimes we think so small, right? And it's only because the world is telling us that. Don't go by the world. Go by God. It's much better, and you can really go big. And so I always say get creative. That would be my advice.
Another email from Helen in Idaho, our dear listener there. She says, hi, if I could change something right now, I would have enough retirement money so I wouldn't have to work, although I love my job. Have enough money to travel this country to visit many Catholic shrines, cathedrals, and grottos. For instance, the grotto near Portland, the cathedral in Helena, Montana, Joseph's Grotto down south, EWTN. I'd visit Stockbridge on Mercy Sunday. That's what I do. Plus, visit Debbie in sunny Arizona when the desert is in bloom in the spring. Yeah. Love you and God bless you, Helen in Idaho. She says, Idaho's beautiful in the spring, too. And she says, maybe visit some friends who live near Torrey Pines next to San Diego. Then I could visit Jerry, too.
I love that. Torrey Pines is gorgeous.
It is.
Okay, you didn't ask me real quickly. I'll tell you something that I was always open to life, okay? But if there was something that I, could have dreamed about or wished, I would have loved to have had a big family, a really big family, like 6, 8. I think it's amazing. I come from a big family. I'm one of 6. I know it probably would have been, not the easiest thing to raise a big family in this day and age, but I would have loved it. So that would have been something, but you never know. Grandchildren, right?
Yeah. Plus, God gave you 2 beautiful sons, and those are great blessings. And like you said, maybe they will have the large family for you. You'd still have a large family.
That's right. That's right. And it's better, right? Because I can just spoil them, right? And then I don't have to worry about any discipline.
On YouTube, Lulu said I would stock up on Clorox wipes before COVID. Michael says, for me, I would have never bought my first bag of pot. It ruined my life. Wow, that's profound, Michael. There's a couple others.
And then,
there.
Sue said, I would spend more time with my parents and grandparents learning about our family history and life when they were young. Oh, so true. So many of us feel that way. And Quincy?
Quincy says, an addiction to worldliness is an area in my life I'd like to change. I desire to focus on all things divine.
Amen to that. JH?
One more quick one, JH, watching on YouTube. I have been clean for 6 years. I'm 54 years old. Of course, I would have done better years ago without it, but I believe God's blessing so much that I couldn't have gotten here without him or my past. Isn't that a beautiful way of looking at a difficult time in his life?
Absolutely. This was a great conversation about this topic. We'll revisit it again in a different way. But tomorrow we're going to be talking about our pets. Have you ever had to put down one of your pets that you love so very, very much, what did it feel like? How did you go through, tremendous grief because of it? Did others respect that grief that you went through? We want to talk about all angles of that because our pets are an important part of our lives.
That's right. They aren't human, but they are great gifts from God, companionship, and so much more. So we'll talk about that tomorrow here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Thanks to the show team, the affiliates, and you, the Take Two family. Until tomorrow, have a beautiful and blessed day. And St. Joseph, pray for us.
You've heard of the incredible shrinking man? This is Dr. Ray Gurendi. I am the incredible